Welcome back to my channel, Bring Peace into Your Life. Today I would like to talk about quite a difficult subject of having suicidal thoughts and possibly plans to end your life. In my work, I ask people every day if they have any suicidal thoughts or any plans or intent to harm themselves. And quite often they do say, yes, they do have some suicidal ideation, they have suicidal thoughts, or they have made a plan to end their life. These calls are very difficult, and obviously it is extremely difficult for someone who's going through that or who is supporting someone who's going through that. So I talk to both sides of the situation, someone who's having the suicidal thoughts or suicidal plans themselves, and also their family members and people that are supporting them. So what I would say is if you are having suicidal thoughts, if you are making plans to end your life, now is the time to get support. So yes, listen to my video if you want to, but what I would suggest is reaching out to someone who can help you. So that might be the Samaritans, it might be a friend or family member, it might be taking yourself to A&E and explaining that you feel that you're going to harm yourself. But the most important thing is to get support and get help now. If you want help and you want to stay alive, please stop this video. You can listen to it another time, but go and speak to someone who's close to you, someone who knows you, someone who loves you, and someone who will support you, and go and talk to them and ask for support. Now, when I work with clients who are suicidal, we look at the reasons for not acting on those suicidal thoughts or those suicidal plans, and that's what's really important. So in counselling, we call that your protective factor. So I talk to people about, why have you not acted on the thoughts? What is going on? Who is it in your life that makes you feel that you want to stay here and that you want to be here? And that can be a very difficult conversation depending on who the person is, what support they have. Some people don't have a lot of support or people in their life that they feel they can turn to, whereas other people have a lot of support, but they maybe feel that they don't want to burden the people in their lives, or they don't want to put anything onto them. And in my job, what I do is I make sure that I provide options for that person who's wanting to harm themselves. I talk to them about reasons for living, reasons that they have to still be here. And it's a very hard conversation to have, but it's very, very important. Now, a lot of people have suicidal thoughts but don't share them. And that can be very difficult, because if someone doesn't share their thoughts on that, it's very difficult to help them. So what I would say is, if you're wanting help, share your thoughts, express to the people in your life that love you and care for you that you're having these thoughts and that you don't want to act on them and that you need support. And then get that support. So go to the GP, A&E will help you. They can talk to crisis teams and get you support. They can also get you a psychological assessment if needed. And it's about making sure that you are getting the support that you need at this time. What I would say is, if you are feeling very vulnerable, you are feeling that you're not valuable, I would say that you are. You're extremely valuable. Your life has meaning, and people will miss you. People will struggle without you in this world. And it's about looking at what you need to do for you to heal yourself, to have respite from these thoughts, and to get the support you need, and to look at why you're having these thoughts. So many of my clients that I work with feel like they don't have any hope. They feel like things are hopeless, things are not going to be able to be fixed. And quite often when people do feel hopeless, they have suicidal thoughts, and sometimes it goes into a more serious plan. When that does happen, it's really, really important to reach out and to speak to people. Lack of hope causes despair and can be extremely difficult if you're already having suicidal thoughts, or there's maybe been suicidal thoughts or plans or even attempts in the past. When I talk to people, I talk to them about their attempts, I talk to them about what they're planning, especially if they have an active plan. And what we do is we look at de-escalating that plan. So we look at a safety plan. What can you do to keep yourself safe? What have you done in the past to keep yourself safe? And what can you do now in this moment to make sure you stay here and that you don't act on those thoughts to end your life? That may be that we need to get an ambulance to the person. It may be that we need to phone someone in their life, someone close to them, that they would want there to support them and help them. And that's something that I do in my job if I have a client that's actively suicidal. Now, it's really important to work on your reasons for being here and work on your safety plan. So what are the reasons that you have not acted on these thoughts in the past? Or what are the reasons that you have acted on these thoughts, but you maybe had a failed attempt? And looking at what you can do to keep yourself safe. So having a toolkit of lots of phone numbers that you can call, people that you can call, places that you can go, things that you can do that help reduce those thoughts and the thoughts of acting on those plans. It's a very difficult situation when someone is having suicidal thoughts or has a plan to end their life. And it's also a very, very difficult situation for someone who's supporting someone who's suicidal. So I do also support people who have people in their life that are suicidal and that they really struggle to help them and support them. So what I would say to someone who is supporting someone through suicidal thoughts or plans to end their life is to look at what are their plans, what have they thought about, is there a way to keep them safe? So things like taking the tablets out of the house, if they are actively harming themselves or wanting to harm themselves, maybe look at locking away knives or razor blades and things like that in the house. It's about looking at, can someone be with that person so that if they are having those thoughts that they can reach out, or it's about making sure that there's lots of people on board and lots of people available so that if that person gets to that point where they want to act on those thoughts, they can phone that person and they can make sure they're safe, find out where they are to make sure that they are not actively going to take their life at that moment in time. I've also worked with a lot of people in organisations and companies that have people who may actually attempt to take their own life when that person's working. So I've worked with train drivers, I've worked with bus drivers who have been in a position where someone has actually actively tried to end their life when they are there or has actually ended their life. I have worked with underground drivers for the underground. I have worked with train drivers who have actually experienced someone ending their life when they were actually working. And that's the other side of the situation. So it's not just the person who's suicidal or actively suicidal, the family member or carer or supporting person for that person, but it's also the people who get affected when someone actually actively ends their life and the ripple effect that that has on those people and how they manage that. So suicide is a very difficult subject. Some people find it really difficult to ask these questions, and it is very hard to ask these questions. I've done a lot of training. I actively ask people every day when I'm talking to someone in a call, I ask them, are they having suicidal thoughts? Have they had any plans to harm themselves or end their life? But it's a very difficult conversation to have. But actually opening up and having that conversation is really, really important, because the person that's having those thoughts and feeling suicidal quite often can't say it out loud and express those thoughts. But if you can actually say to someone that you know is struggling, are you actually thinking about harming yourself? Are you having these thoughts? It's very, very important to see that person. And when you do ask, you may get told, no, I'm not, or you may get told, I am, but I would never act on them, or I am, but I have a plan. And that then opens up a conversation, a dialogue that was not there before. And I think it's really, really important to open up a conversation and a dialogue, especially if you're concerned that someone is in that headspace and may harm themselves. The more you can express to that person that you're there for them, that they have choices, that there is support there, the easier it is for that person to then open up and then have a conversation about how they're feeling. And that then leads to a conversation about hope, about reasons for living, and about reasons for staying here. And that's really important. So if you do know anybody who's struggling with suicidal thoughts or really struggling in their life, please ask these questions. I would rather someone asks me if I'm feeling suicidal or if I have plans to harm myself and I say no, than someone not ask me and I'm having those thoughts and I really need to express them and get that support. So the Samaritans is a great organisation if someone is having these thoughts. Quite a lot of organisations and employers have employee assisted programs where you can speak to them and discuss how you're feeling and get support. The GP is very helpful, and also A&E. So if you are having any thoughts like this, please reach out to anyone you can to get support, to talk about it and get the support you need. If you have someone in your life that is feeling this way and you're supporting them, please have the conversation. Say to them, are you having these thoughts? What can I do? How can I help you? And have those open conversations, because the conversations being open are so important, because when it's unspoken, quite often people will act on it without telling anybody and without having that safety line. So if you have had any of these thoughts, as I say, please reach out and get support. If you have someone in your life that's having these thoughts, reach out for support as well. And if you have anything that you feel is helpful, please put it in the comments. Any support organisations that you've turned to in the past or that you know about that can help people, please put them in the comments. So if anybody is struggling, that information will be there for them. So I hope this video has helped somebody. I hope it has helped people who are supporting people through this as well. And I really do hope that whoever out there is either feeling suicidal or knows somebody who's feeling suicidal, both of you get the support that you need. And I hope that you're still here and you're still fighting to be here. And I hope this has helped. Please take care, and I will see you in the next video.